JG has been psychic his whole life. He grew up on the East Coast near Boston and lived his early childhood there, but always had many early psychic childhood experiences. He had a 22-year career in the Air Force, and then through the GI Bill, graduated from California State University Stanislaus with a degree in theater arts. And he has a passion for theater arts and music and poetry. He's performed in many plays. He was a principal dancer and performer in a version of West Side Story at his university. He came to Sacramento, and the Tony Awards are very famous, but here in Sacramento we have the Ellie Awards, which is after Ellie McClatchy, and JG won an Ellie Award, I believe, for Best Supporting Actor, and also has been nominated for a few other Ellie Awards, and has been in 7 or 8 plays here in the Sacramento area. He also became very interested in the Sacramento Gay and Lesbian Center and found the center personally, probably in the mid to late 1990s, and then facilitated a coming out group, became the volunteer coordinator, and then became the interim executive director for a while and worked closely with the board of trustees, keeping the Sacramento Gay Lesbian Center afloat during a very important time. Now, for the past 10 years, JG has been very much grounded in spirit. I came into his life for the second time in 2007, and we moved in together. We've now been married for 3 years. But after 2007, he told me some very interesting stories. He had, in the mid to late 90s, he had some interesting spiritual crises. Ended up in the hospital, had stage 4 lymphoma, no chance of survival. He was in the hospital for many months, and the doctors called in preachers to do last rites. Daughters and family members came in. He had a spontaneous remission of stage 4 cancer. Ended up being in a neurological sleep for well over 3 weeks and had a near-death experience where he met a spirit guide named Shayla on the other side. He got involved with Kenji Kamara and some light workers here in Sacramento and had an interesting process where through a series of events, it became very clear that it was time to really get into channeling and downloading spirit on a very deep level. So for the last 5 to 7 years, he's been doing readings for people. He's been presenting workshops in Hawaii. He's got clients in Spain, a few places around the world, and has done hundreds of readings here personally in Sacramento at our meditation room on the 2nd floor of our beautiful place where we live in Fulton Woods. He feels that he's called to be JG's soul messenger and has a message that we are all magnificent beings of love and light. We're on a journey, and we're here to love each other and ground ourselves in the truth of who we are. It is my pleasure to introduce JG.
I can go home now. You know all about me. I don't need to go any further. Like I said, today's theme has been harvesting miracles, and we've heard from some dynamic speakers, beautiful music, especially Chris, the part about seeds of miracles, ties in beautifully. I love how spirit works. I wait for a download every month, and like I said, the theme this month was harvesting miracles. So the thought came to my mind, what is harvesting? How do you harvest a damn miracle, First of all, how many of you create miracles, or perform miracles? Sure. Oh, we've got a few over here. Jesus did a really good number, water to wine, okay? I want to just take a moment and let's look at those two things, and I'll talk about each. Harvesting and miracles. Harvesting, usually we think about the farmer reaping up the harvest, and planting, a seed in the ground and watering it and nurturing it and watching it grow. And there's magic in that in itself. But the harvesting is the important part, because if you don't harvest it, then it just rots and it goes to waste. Or as they say, it lays fallow, you know? And so the farmer's job is to lay the seed, just as your higher power is there to lay the seed within you. And that seed is to be nurtured and respected and put in soil that is rich with nutrients so that you could really blossom and be who you are. Unfortunately, a lot of us didn't get the right soil. Or we got damaged what we thought we got the wrong seed because things just didn't turn out the way we want. So hold that thought for a moment, because I'll come back to it. Now let's talk about miracles. We throw that word around like, oh my God, she had a miracle baby. Oh, it would take a miracle for that to happen. I don't know, but it was like a miracle. It came to me. So we have all of these different concepts about miracles, but they're always outside of us. They're always something that's far beyond who we are, far beyond our expectation, definitely out of the ordinary, certainly not the ordinary grind of everyday life. And when it happens to us, we're in awe of it. It's like, oh, wow. I want to invite you to think that that wow is recognition of that divine part of you that is recognizing who and what you are to be able to experience that event that you call a miracle. A fish is in the water, and two fish are floating around. And the one fish says to the other fish, "What is an ocean?" We do the same thing. We're floating around here saying, who is God? I can't make a miracle. I can pray for one. I can have faith that there might be one, but I don't make it happen. Only one person can do that. That's God. You know, I'm not God, certainly. I can't do that. And so we stay in this small space. I invite you to look at that, because staying in that small space makes you helpless. It makes you small, and it makes everything that you aspire to be as way big. Imagine if you were to turn that around and came from a perspective that you were that big, and that the thing that you were doing was a piece of cake. That's one thought. Getting back to the fish swimming in the water has no idea that the ocean is, that he's living, breathing, feeling the ocean. I want to invite you with the idea that you're living and breathing miracles. What would that look like if you could really grasp the idea that you are, in fact, a miracle? When you entered this plane, your divine nature was activated, your DNA, divine nature activated. That was a miracle. Just hold that thought for a moment. That was a miracle. And you were birthed into a field of unlimited possibilities. And that field has billions of miracles waiting for you to pay attention to it. Because whatever you put your attention to becomes. We're now proving that in quantum physics. So if that's true, there's an awful lot of miracles that we just brush aside, that we don't even pay attention to. So what is ours to do? Well, I believe we're to harvest those miracles. We're to pay attention to the day-to-day miracles, because there are coded messages in each miracle. Each miracle is there to inspire you and lead you further on. But we have a tendency, don't we, to look at our past to try to find the answer there. You know, the past is where I've been, so I can surmise from there where I may go, right? And from the ego's point of view, I've said this before, it might be the width of my body and out to here would be the possibilities, because your ego's busy saying, oh, I've read your diary, you know, based on what I know about you and your age and your brain, you can probably dream about out to here. Anything beyond that is outrageous, has no value. So you can dream to this point. Well, those miracles are all around, way beyond that. So you never get to explore that part of you. And I think so many of us never reach our full potential. We come here coded for greatness. We didn't come here coded for average. We didn't come here to be coded as same. We didn't come here to fit in. We came here to shine. And I mean shine brightly. Shine magnificently. And so if someone sees you in the street and goes, woo, you're just too bright, say, put on a pair of sunglasses, because I can't diminish my light. It's not, as a matter of fact, it's not my light. It's God's light shining through me as me. And it's my responsibility to accept graciously all that God has put before me, whatever you conceive God to be. Now, how do you access that? It's nice to talk about it like I'm, you know, in esoteric terms, you know, miracles are all around us. Well, how do I grab them? How do I harvest them? Well, you can't harvest them when you're busy focused on your past, or when you're holding to a limitation of possibility. You're shortchanging yourself. Now, the work that I do is I tune into my clients' healing team of guides. And all of them have the resounding same message, that you're a magnificent being of light, and that you're here on this planet is a joy and a gift, and there are thousands of souls that wish that you could trade places with you. But they want you to invite you to take a moment and, instead of focusing here, go to outrageous possibilities. Do you notice I use the word outrageous? Not great possibilities, not possibilities that I think I like to have, or that one day maybe, you know, if a miracle happens, I could get that. When I hit the lotto, or when I get that degree, when I become this, when I become. Not that I am, but when I become. So what message are we sending to the universe? Is that I'm not enough. I'm somehow lacking. And so the universe always wants to give us whatever we want. It goes, yeah, hey, gives you some more lack in whatever area you're in, whether it's relationships, money, health, wealth, any of those things. And we feel victim to that. Like, what can I do? You know, I can only hope for a miracle. I'm a walking miracle. I am a walking miracle. I should have been dead long ago. And I not only had those two instances that Ajay mentioned, I had several after that, that time in the hospital, because I was what they call neutropenic. I had no white cells, so I was catching infection after infection, and I was at death's door again and again. But the miracle in all of that wasn't so much my healing that I'm standing before you, was all the doctors that tended to me, all the nurses that did. I had doctors that switched specialties because they had heard about me and wanted to go into the field that dealt with my illness. And I had other doctors that were in my field that switched for another field that was related to it. And I can recall, this is a wonderful aside, I was in isolation one time, small little room, and I'm in bed, and I can feel the presence of all these entities, guides. I couldn't see them, but they were kind of like buddies hanging out. And my doctors would come in, and they would be all gowned up with a mask and all, shield actually, like this, and they'd come in, they'd say, excuse me, then they'd catch themselves. There was no one else in the room but me, and I'm in the bed. And finally it got to the point where they started asking me, well, okay, who's here? So they got opened up in a way that they had never been taught to open up, especially being in the medical field. I digress a little bit. I want to get back to outrageous possibilities, because that's where your guides live. That's where your higher self lives. That's where you live, is really in the realm of outrageous possibilities. So what does that look like? Let's see. I'll use me as an example. Outrageous. What could be most outrageous? I've won the Nobel Peace Prize. I'll jot that down in my book, my Magnificent Me book. What else? Oh, I've written the best play, because I come from a theater background. I not only acted in it, I've gotten an Academy Award, but it's become so famous that I've come up with a whole new spirituality. I've combined metaphysics and science. The world needs me. I write all that down. Okay, what I'm doing is I'm exercising that psychic muscle that puts me in that realm. It may not be that, but pretty soon after jotting these things down, without the censorship of my ego, what's going to happen is I'm going to get little aha moments along the way. And so it might look like my fantasy, my miracle that I wished for was that I was going to become this great speaker. We'll use that as an example. But I get this inkling like, ooh, I really want to take a pottery class. That's what I want to do. I'll do it later. Miracle passes by. Another one comes again. A friend just told me that they're having one at Sac State, and it's free. So I think I'll go. So I go and I take a pottery class, and as I'm at the wheel making the pottery, I feel really connected to the divine. For some reason, this is like, wow, magical. It puts me right in alignment. And I'm making all of these beautiful pieces that I didn't know I had a talent for. But the beauty is, I am harvesting that miracle. I am taking it in, and now I'm giving it out. I'm creating substance with it. And people all of a sudden say, oh my God, this is beautiful. It touches my spirit. And then I get to be known as this famous potter that turns out fabulous spiritual pieces, and everyone wants one in their home. And before you know it, I'm on Oprah, and Oprah's like, well, JG, how come you ended up being a potter? And I told her, well, I did some outrageous dreaming. See how that works? We never know what Spirit has designed for us. We don't know what our divine nature activated is here to do. We don't know how many people we're going to help. So, in harvesting those miracles, I want to go back to that farmer. Imagine if that farmer, when he was picking out seeds, if he just had a handful of seeds, he wouldn't know what they were going to be, If he were to plant all of them in the ground and water them and get the harvest, then he's like, okay, I've gotten too much. I don't know what to do with it. The smart farmer would say, oh, I've gotten so much, I can share it with my neighbors. Another farmer might say, I'll just let it rot because it'll help fertilize the ground. It's all about me, So what are you going to do with that miracle that you harvest? Are you going to keep it and say it's mine and I'm the lucky one? and I'm going to guard it, and I'm going to hold it close to my heart because it came from a divine source? Is it going to be all about me? Or am I going to take that miracle and share it? And what does that look like, my sharing? It can be as simple as a smile. You have no idea what a smile can do for somebody. A smile could affect a healing for somebody, and in that, that's a miracle. Think about that. A smile can heal somebody. Can heal someone that is desperate, that feels like nobody cares, and tells its body that it's not worth anything, and yet someone just smiles at them and recognizes them, and they get hope. So you move from hope to faith to miracle, and then from miracle to miracle to miracle. Because once you know, you cannot know. So now that I've told you this stuff, start expecting miracles everywhere, because you cannot not know once you learn. That's been my experience, is that miracles are ordinary moments. What's not ordinary is saying that life is ordinary. If you can reverse that, like what I said in the beginning, instead of coming from the small self says, oh, this is so hard for me to do. And you came from the higher self, and it says, oh, this is a piece of cake. Well, it's the same way with miracles. If you don't recognize them, it doesn't mean that they're not there. It just means that you're not there. You think you're not there, but you're in a miracle. You are a miracle, and you will forever be a miracle, and you will forever be expanding miracles. So why not revel in that fact? Why not go to your highest potential, go to that outrageous possibility field and find out what is yours to do? Contact your guides. They're there for you, 100%. They're your posse, And I like to see miracles as bubbles all around me, And as they come to me, if I intent something, that bubble comes to me and goes poof, and it becomes. I become that. The other blessing that I want to leave you with is, once you do that, you can go from uh-oh to wow. Now, what does that mean? What do I mean by uh-oh to wow? It goes something like this. Small self is busy going, uh-oh, oh my God, what's going to happen next? Ooh, ooh, ah, there's a miracle coming, Ooh, ah, oh my God, ooh, oh, ooh, oh, ooh, wow, wow. And then finally, I want to move from the uh-oh to the. Thank you.